Hi everyone, I'm Yasha, and welcome to the 24th episode of Election Scoop. And today we'll be talking about the primary elections that were held last Tuesday, May 22nd. Primaries were held in 3 states: Georgia, Arkansas, and Kentucky. And Texas, which held primaries a while back, held runoffs for the positions that a single candidate did not get a majority of votes in. First, let's look at Georgia. Georgia is a state that has voted for every Republican presidential candidate since 2000. But thanks to large urban areas and racial minorities, it's considered one of the best states for Democrats to flip. For the governor's race, Stacey Abrams won the Democratic primary in a 53-point landslide against fellow woman named Stacey Evans. Abrams becomes the first African American to become the Democratic nominee for Georgia's governor, and was seen as the more liberal candidate against Evans, who ran a campaign trying to appeal to the moderate and conservative voters in Georgia. However, thanks to rapidly shifting demographics, the Georgia Democratic voter base was no longer as conservative as it once was, and Abrams took the day. For the Republican side, 6 candidates, and not 2, competed. Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle and Secretary of State Brian Kemp will compete in a runoff at a later date to decide the Republican nominee. One piece of good news for the Democrats was that in 2014, the last midterm election, Republicans got 65% of the total amount of primary ballots cast. This year, they only got 52%, showing that the Democratic base is very active and engaged. Now, let's turn to Arkansas, a state which doesn't have much swing connotation with it. Incumbent Republican Governor Asa Hutchinson, a conventional Republican, is running for re-election to his second term. He faced a primary campaign from more right-wing candidate Jan Morgan, the owner of a shooting range. Hutchinson defeated Morgan by a comfortable margin and will face Democrat Jared Henderson, who he will likely beat by a substantial margin in this solid red state in the general election. Kentucky's notable election wasn't for a statewide race, as most usually are. In Kentucky, the House of Representatives race for the 6th Congressional District is heating up to be the key race of the year. The incumbent Republican, Andy Barr, easily won his primary race, and so most excitement was on the Democratic side. The early frontrunner was Lexington Mayor Jim Gray, who was chosen as the early frontrunner by the Democratic Party because of his ability to fundraise and name recognition in the district. His major primary opponent turned out to be Army veteran Amy McGrath. With McGrath running an energized campaign, the race became neck and neck, and then Gray made a fatal mistake. He ran an ad complaining that McGrath had not lived in the district long enough, being on military tour, and that she wasn't a local, which infuriated military and veteran groups, and was seen as a really nasty attack ad. On election night, McGrath won by 8 points, and now will face Barr in an exciting general election to be decided this November. In addition to these 3 states, Texas held a primary runoff, which not all states do. The key race here was for the Democratic primary for governor of Texas, and 2 key players faced off. The sheriff of Dallas County, Lupe Valdez, defeated businessman Andrew White for the position. White was seen as a more moderate candidate, and his loss to Valdez was seen as a win for the liberal faction of the Texas Democratic Party, which will likely increase turnout in large cities and areas with high population of Latinos, but may not turn out so good for moderate and conservative Democrats, who have made up the voter base of Texas for many years, but are now dwindling in numbers. It's likely that the Republican candidate, incumbent Greg Abbott, will win re-election, but this race still will be an interesting one to watch. So that's the state of the elections going down in those 4 states. Overall, we can rate Georgia as lean Republican, Kentucky and Texas as likely Republican, and Arkansas as safe Republican. So thanks for watching, and remember, don't forget to vote.